America? I said, yes. She said, welcome to Vietnam. Your first time? I said, yes, ma'am, I'm really happy to be here. She said, did you ever hear of the so-called war? I said, the so-called war? She said, yes, when America lost to Vietnam. And I went, oh, the Vietnam War. Yes, the so-called war. That's what they call it there, because it was not a war. It was an invasion and an occupation of a sovereign country by another country. So for them, it's the so-called war. And no matter who you meet in Ho Chi Minh City, they're like, welcome, I'm so glad you're here. We love America. And you lost that war. We just wanted to let you know that. Here's the menu. Enjoy the specials. And every cab driver, everybody, see my warm and welcoming smile? The subtext is, you dropped over 600 million tons of napalm and dioxin and Agent Orange and all kinds of awful things from the laboratories of Dow Chemical, and the Ho Chi Minh Trail never closed one day. And we're still here, a bunch of fucking farmers. Keep your fucking ass. And even though we still give birth to two-headed children who die in our wombs, we're still here, motherfucker! Blow that into the Stone Age, bitch! And after a week of living in Vietnam, meeting these people, traveling out to Cu Chi and crawling through the tunnels of Cu Chi, they have them open for tourists like me, I got a whole new respect for the country and the people of Vietnam. I walked out of there almost wanting a Ho Chi Minh tattoo on my arm, because it's so fucking righteous when you see these people, basically farmers. America bombed farmers, people who lived their entire lives back bent over in rice paddies, working their asses off to make this much fucking food. And so I did that, and I came back to America, and I said, you know that war in Vietnam, you want to piss off some Americans? Tell them the awful truth, that they lost that war, they lost the Korean War, and they're going to lose the so-called war in Iraq too. They are actively losing it. And also, guess what? They're going to lose it in Afghanistan too. And if America is stupid enough to go into Iran and Russia at the same time, lose, and who's going to be left? All of you, me, road manager Ward, to drive me from gig to gig, and everyone else who's stupid enough to buy into this fucking genocidal bullshit, they'll all be gone. And I am not happy about this. I don't say, well, good riddance. I go, you dumb motherfuckers, we tried to give you a Ramones album, but you would not listen. We tried to give you Al Green and Aretha Franklin. We showed you the way out. But you picked misery, depression, bankruptcy, and foreclosure instead. What are you going to do? So, I got out of Southeast Asia, and I went back to America, and I had about 10 minutes to prepare before I had to leave again. Last year, I was at the Edinburgh Festival, and I met a man, I'd met him before, and he said, Henry, I'm working on this project, I want you to take a look at it. And he gave me a DVD-R of a documentary called H is for Hunger. And the documentary is a single man is speaking in French, yelling down the barrel of a lens about world famine and the facts and figures and statistics about world famine, what happens to a human body when it doesn't eat for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, and how the body eventually dies of starvation, what can be done, who's wasting food, who's wasting money, what organizations are corrupt, who's honest. And it was a hell of a thing. It was a really rough documentary. So there's one guy that's going like, drawing statistics on blackboards. It was really heavy. And the guy said the director's French. He did the whole thing in French and then realized French only gets about this far. Not everyone in the world speaks French. So he wants to shoot it again in English. And he came to me as the producer. He said, I need a really angry guy who speaks English to do this documentary. Do you have anyone you can find? And this guy went, oh, have I got the guy for you. And so they called me. And so I liked the documentary. I liked it so much, I paid for half of it. So I invested half of it. And all the profit, hopefully, now I'm shamelessly flogging this thing. When it comes out, when you go to see it, all the profits are going to go to the World Food Program. And we're going to try and stop working on this. So, we shot that thing in a place called Chiang Mai, Thailand, because Chiang Mai has some very cheap production spaces. So the director said, "You want to go to Chiang Mai, Thailand and shoot this thing?" I went, "Live in Thailand for 2 weeks? Oh yeah!" I flew there with track shoes on. So happened to be a resident of Thailand for 2 weeks. And so we were there working away. It was a very low budget thing, so we were working very, very hard. And so halfway through the production, the director says, "What are you doing after this thing is finished?" I said, "I got a couple of weeks off, and then I go to Europe." He says, "You want to go to Burma?" I went, "Fuck, I've wanted to go to Burma for at least a decade." I go, "Burma's really fucked up with a cyclone and everything." He said, "Yeah, you want to go?" I was like, oh. So we got visas, and we went into Burma. 5 guys with cameras trying to look like tourists. Me with a microphone clipped to my shirt with a big camera. 2 guys with high-definition cameras. "Henry, look into the camera and talk to your mom about the fact that you're standing in front of Aung San Suu Kyi's house that's right behind you beyond this lake here." And so guards are looking at us everywhere we went. And on one day in a place called Bagan, we were actually surveilled and followed by 2 different groups dispatched by the police to keep their eyes on the 5 wacky white American tourists with their big boy cameras. And the country has no infrastructure. It's a massive country, hugest country in Southeast Asia, with no roads on the inside, because Tan Shui, the senior general of the military junta that overlords the place, has seen fit to not put any infrastructure inside. Why? Because if the people of Burma have the ability to move around, they might mobilize and overthrow this ruthless guy who treats these wonderful people so badly. And for 2 weeks, we drove 1,200 miles on non-roads. It was the most bone-jarring experience of my life. Our intrepid driver, Chocho drove every day in this van that we thought was just going to break into 30,000 pieces any second, such the road. All day long. You get out of there and you've just been massaged loose. Like you left half your DNA on the seat. Like the pigment comes out of your hair. See? Okay? And so I learned something by going to that country. I learned that sanctions do not work. Condoleezza Rice keeps wanting to put more sanctions upon the tiny tortured country of Burma, Myanmar, if you like. And the only thing that the sanctions do is take the people who are so poor already, make them poor, keep them more down and more disenfranchised and further away from medical attention and anything else they might need to have something called a life. Now, I'm almost done with you, I'm almost done, but here's a rhetorical question that I want to throw out to you. You don't need to answer it in your mind, because the travels that I've been doing in the last several years, this is the question that keeps, my travel begs this question. Why is it always, when you go to countries that have people who have experienced in their lives nothing but brutality, malnutrition, drought, tribal genocidal problems, ruthless totalitarian dictatorships as their governments, why are they often the most generous, the most kind, who will give you half of their food when they themselves have barely anything? Why is it these people are always so welcoming and with no strings attached? They're just happy to see you. Thank you for coming to our village. Please eat with us. But you're broke. You're eating rocks and some sand. Have half the sand. Welcome. And I don't know why it's the poor that are so generous. I do not understand why in America, when the American government ignored the people who were disenfranchised by Katrina, when FEMA failed the American people, why was the American people, most of them broke ass? You know America. You can shake America real hard. 4 dimes will hit the ground. America is out of money. And so, well, except for Mariah. But if you shake America, there's no money. So how were Americans able to raise $1.3 billion to give to people they're never going to meet? Why? Because Americans, like I said an hour ago, Americans are good. They're just poorly managed. And I beg of you not to judge the many by the actions of the few.